Hi friends, this is Jackie Williams and I want to share with you today another gorgeous birthday card. This one using a brand new stamp set called Hello Birthday Gorgeous. So this one features a nice little window and then you open the card up again for your writing place. So a couple things. First of all, the stamp set, like I said, is Happy Birthday Gorgeous, brand new, and you can buy it on its own or the die on its own, the Happy Birthday, or you can bundle them together for a 10% discount. Now, just keep in mind that this Happy Birthday die can be used for a lot more than just Happy Birthday, because the way that the die is created, you can actually take your scissors and just separate these couple of little joins and then use the words separately on their own, or separate them and use them that way. Now I also want to point out these wonderful wood textures papers, all double-sided, and you get 48 sheets in a pack, 6x6, and these are what we're using today. A couple of the prints from in there, but this is a fantastic one, not only for general cards but also for masculine cards as well. So let's get started. First of all, you need a card base, and in this case, I'm using powder pink, one of our brand new colors, and then I've cut my wood piece to fit the front exactly. You could cut it so that it fits with a little bit of a border, but I wanted it to fit exactly. I'm going to do the card landscape. Now we're going to use, to cut our window, our oval dies, and you need the two largest dies. You could use the scallop ones, but I'm just going to use the plain sided ones for now. And usually I big shot things first, but there's a little bit of a technique to this, so I wanted to show it to you on the video. Let's get under the camera. So we'll place our project. You'll just need to, without adhering, just place this wood piece right on the front of the card, and then of the dies you want to take the smaller of the two, and you're going to cut through both layers and just kind of eyeball and center that up, or wherever you want it to be positioned. I think about there is correct. Okay, now you just need to run it through once. If you haven't watched my Big Shot Tips video, I would encourage you to do that. But if you run it, you don't need to run it through twice. And if you do, when you don't need to, you're just using your plates more than you need to. So now we have two ovals exactly the same. So now we're going to take away the card base, and we're going to run this through again, now with the larger oval. I do have the magnetic platform under here, just on the wood panel. Now the reason why I cut them through first with the small ones was so I knew where to position this, because if you did the small on the powder pink and then the large on this one, they wouldn't necessarily match up. In fact, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't. So that's why we've done it that way. Okay, let's get rid of that. So now what we have, oops, it goes that way, is this should line up on the card and line up around that oval, so you have a relatively perfect little frame there. Okay, so now next thing, we just want to do a little bit of inking. I'm using crumb cake, and I'm just going to go inside the ovals and just kind of finish off that edge a little bit, because we've got, it's kind of a vintagey card. So I just want to soften these edges and these colors down just a little. Okay, now before we're going to put this onto the card front though, I want to do a little bit of stamping. So you may want to grab your stamping mat for this, because this is a photopolymer stamp set. Now we're going to use the colors Powder Pink, Berry Burst, Fresh Fig, and then I've pulled in Old Olive, one of my favorites. So we're using 3 of the new in colors. I'm just going to go ahead and open them, because we're going to do a little bit of stamping and layers. Okay, so let's first do our large rose. And if you'll notice, that little rose has a little tab on it. I just always have the tab pointing upwards. That way it's always the same, but whatever works for you. So I'm going to do that one on each side of the oval, like so. And then we'll take the little fill for the flower. Again, it has a little tab, so as long as you point it up, it will line up reasonably well. Although often these sort of fill stamps don't necessarily match up exactly. Oh, I got a little ink there, but don't worry, we will cover that up. Okay, then I'm going to take the small rose and do that one in the berry burst, and about like that, just kind of on either side of the larger rose. And that one also has a fill stamp. Do that in the powder pink. Like so. Okay, now we're just going to fill in any little gaps with the little leaf and the old olive. So this you can kind of do just however. I'll cover up that little stray ink mark. Just want to make it look nice and full, like a little wreath going around your oval here. Something like this. This is why we are stamping before we're putting it on, because some of the leaves will be coming outside of the or coming into the middle of the project. Let's see. There may be sort of a technique to where to put the leaves, but I don't know it. Okay, I think that looks good. And then if you want to, there's a little like curly Q stamp. It's just kind of a little border, and I'll do that top and bottom in the old olive. Like so. Okay. Now, let's move those out of the way. Now I think we are ready to actually put this onto our card front. So just a little bit of adhesive. Whoops. Whoops, I think I just ran that out. We'll grab our Tombow. Like so. And then just want to center that up with the oval. And you can always take your trimmer and trim off any edges if anything doesn't quite line up in the end. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is add our die cut. Now I've gone ahead and already cut that out. This is done in the fresh fig, and I did ink around it with the crumb cake. You could also ink around it in the fresh fig. It's just to give it a little bit of dimension, I suppose, a little bit of shading along the edges. So I would suggest you place it down on your project and kind of remark where the glue needs to go. So kind of just on those, which letters and things. So you can always lift it up and kind of put a few more little dots on if you need to. So it's not going to end up being a whole lot of glue. Okay, so something like that. And just give that a moment to dry. But there you go. So that's what it looks like so far. Now our inner card is just, so this powder pink was an A4 cut in half. So this is going to be an A4 cut in half and then trimmed down just a little bit more. So now I've used this kind of a beechwood colored paper, which I really like this one too. And I did a little stamping on that as well. And then just place that onto your little inner card front. And inside, I've already done it. I've stamped It's Your Day, and then there's a little line, and then Forever Young. And add just a little bit more of that white washed wood that we used on the front, because you'll end up with a few little scraps. So you may as well use them. And then this can just go inside your card. Beautiful. And then this nice little beechwood will then show through your oval, which gives a nice contrast to the whitewashed wood that's on the front. Now just a couple of little more embellishing things. I did use the Wink of Stella on the roses. This adds just a little bit of interest without detracting at all. And then used a few enamel dots down here in the corner. In this case, I'm using Old Olive because we don't have enamel dots in these new in colors, but I think the Old Olive looks great, or the Rich Razzleberry would probably tie in as well. And then last thing is a little bit of ribbon. Now on this original sample that I showed you, I used the Fresh Fig ribbon, which is this yummy ribbon here, a nice woven ribbon. I cut it in half and then pulled some of the threads out, which you can see here. And that works pretty well. This one is quite a tightly woven ribbon, so it was a little bit hard to get the threads out, but it's certainly possible. So I thought for the sample this time, I'll do something a little different. And this, I've just cut off basically the edge, that bound edge. So I've got just a thin piece of the edge of the ribbon, basically. And I'll just tie that. And it's okay if it frays a little bit. I think it just adds to the look. Just tie that like so. Just let that hang down, and then you can trim it a little bit if you want to. All right, then just stamp up an envelope to match, and there you go. So I hope you've learned a few little tips from this, maybe how to get a little more out of your oval dies, and also very exciting, the new colors and the new images. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.